If past trauma is holding you back in life, there is help, and you can move past your past to live a productive and happier life. Join LaToya Shea in her free 7-day seminar and enjoy life in the F lane. It's March 28th through April 3rd. Register now and enjoy this important series on healing. Overcome past trauma for good. Get over trauma from your childhood and kick heartache, trauma, and drama to the curb. Reclaim all that the past has stolen from you now. Sign up right away so you don't miss this important event. It's free. Visit spiritualcoach.latoyashay.com. Share the link on all of your social media so your friends can join too. Spiritualcoach.latoyashay.com and click free 7-day healing series. That's spiritualcoach.latoyashay.com.
You are listening to The Brian Craig Show podcast, broadcasting from sunny South Florida. Brian is joined by his wife and co-host, Kathy. Follow Brian on social media at BrianCraigShow.com. And now, Brian and Kathy.
Welcome to the program, everyone. I'm Brian Craig, always joined by my wife and co-host, Kathy. Thanks, everyone, for tuning in. And please make sure that you follow and subscribe on whatever platform you are listening to us on. I watched, not all of it, but a chunk of the first episode of the Ukrainian President Zelensky's television show, the one where he played the president of Ukraine.
Yeah.
And it's on Netflix.
What's it called?
It's called, let me look it up again, because it's subtitled because, you know, they're speaking Ukrainian. It's called Servant of the People. And it's low budget, but it's, you know, this is Ukraine TV. They have a small audience, you know. It's like having a national audience of like Georgia or something. You know what I mean? It's, you know, it's maybe bigger than Georgia. I don't know, but it's low
pretty
budget.
Big country.
It's a big country, but it's not like a network show in the United States with a vast audience.
Nothing really is.
Although this show on Netflix very well could be the most downloaded television series in years on any streaming service. It's not. It's very low budget. His acting's okay. I mean, it's hard to totally judge his acting because it's subtitled, but it's not the greatest. It's a comedy, and what it's about is he plays a school teacher who goes on a rant about the corruption of Ukraine, and this moment goes viral, and then they make him the president. He's just a regular guy who lives with his parents and rides a bicycle to work, and then he becomes the president of Ukraine.
Kind of like Pete Buttigieg.
Well, kind of like, more like that movie with Robin Williams where he played a late-night talk show host who became president. Remember that movie? I don't remember the name of that movie.
No.
It's so ridiculous and so bad.
But yet now he's president.
Yeah.
I mean, how ridiculous is it?
You know, and
life imitating art.
A lot of people. Okay, when I bring this up about Zelensky, the TV show, which is just it's really absurd. I'm not gonna watch. It's 20 some episodes long. I can't binge the Zelensky TV show. It's not good. I don't mind the subtitles. I watch things that are subtitled all the time. In fact, if I'm watching something that's foreign, I prefer to watch it in its native language with subtitles to me. But sometimes when I'm watching things with subtitles, I don't know if this happens to you guys, but I'll forget they're speaking a foreign language because I'm reading it.
Yeah.
And then I'm not saying that I think I understand them speaking Korean or something if I'm watching a Korean show on Netflix, but I forget. And I'm reading. Then I'll look away from the TV and then I'll be like lost about what it's a strange thing. But this story with this show with Zelensky, which if you have Netflix, go and check it out if you're curious. He's a smaller guy than I thought. He's a little guy.
Yeah, he
really is a little guy. He looks bigger on TV, but I mean, as president on the TV show, he looks like a little guy. But they show some scenes where they do fake things with green screens with him. Like he takes a picture with a little girl in front of a green screen and then he make it look like he's out in public somewhere.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, I don't know if the show is going to help his image or hurt his image right now, but check it out. He's definitely a talented actor and he does understand television. Watching the show, he's a professional guy. I mean, it's not like I say, it's low budget. It's not a quality of an American program, and his acting is not the quality of maybe a top tier A-list American actor, but he's talented and he's good, and he knows how to play the camera. And now we're seeing his new TV show, which is addressing Congress and parliaments and things like this.
Exactly.
So I don't know. You know, I on the Steve Kane show, half the audience say that I'm a Putin puppet, and the other half say that Steve's a fanboy of Zelensky. And I got a really nasty message from someone that I have been friends with for over 10 years over Zelensky, who said Zelensky. What did they say, Kathy? You saw it. Don't say who.
Yeah, you'll never be as brave as he is.
Yes, you'll never be as lay off Zelensky. You'll never be as brave as he is.
This is somebody you've known a long time.
I've known them over 10 years. And I've been to their house.
Not the nicest person.
I've been to their house, and they're sending me these nasty
with
messages.
exclamation points.
Yeah, I mean, my goodness. You know, the thing about Zelensky and his performance in front of Congress yesterday. Listen, I'm on the side of Ukraine here. In this war. It's an illegal war. Putin attacked. It was unprovoked. It's an illegal war, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. However, his address to Congress was a big production, maybe even a higher budget production than he had on his TV show. And the TV show, it debuted in 2015. I don't know. I might fast forward to the last episode or two and skip and see what it was like in the end. Maybe it became a hit. They got a bigger budget. I don't know. But he obviously has TV people that are very talented that work with him and his administration, which makes sense because he comes from the world of TV.
Right.
So, now he needs the TV. So he brings these people in. And when he addressed Congress yesterday, this is some of this person who I guess used to be a friend of mine. They don't consider me a friend anymore, this person we're talking about.
Maybe they never did.
I don't know. Maybe not. It's possible.
The way they were talking to you.
It's possible. But
friends don't talk like that to each other.
Over the war in Ukraine,
yeah,
I mean.
So I don't think this guy was ever your friend.
Well, when there used to be these divisions, like during Vietnam, my father is a Vietnam veteran. He volunteered to go to Vietnam, which, and there was a newspaper article about my dad and his younger brother, because my dad was obviously pro-Vietnam War. This is before I was born, because he joined the Marines and volunteered to go to Vietnam, and his brother was a peacenik college student who was protesting the war, and they did this newspaper story.
Interesting. It's kind of like out of Born on the 4th of July.
I guess so, yeah.
Those two brothers, Tom Cruise is fighting with his brother at the dinner table.
It was kind of like that. It was a real thing. And this thing with Ukraine has really caused a divide among Trump supporters, and I just don't get it. But, this is the deal with what's going on in Ukraine, okay? There was a production with Zelensky yesterday. The footage that he showed the Congress was overly graphic. I don't think it should have been on regular television. Did you see it?
No.
They don't want to watch it. It showed images of children who were killed in the hospital and everything, babies. It was really graphic, and I understand why he did it, but it was a production. And the way that he presents himself in the Castro outfit, the Fidel Castro outfit, the camouflage clothes. He stopped shaving. He's growing a beard. He looks like Fidel Castro.
I think a lot of this, like I said, I don't agree with what Putin's doing, but I feel a lot. They have an actor here.
Literally, he's got a TV show.
Literally an actor, but I feel a lot of what he's doing in his presentations is highly manipulative.
Theatrics,
wearing eye makeup.
He had eyeliner on
not
yesterday.
Shaving on purpose. I mean, the guy can shave. If he can give speeches all day long from his room, he could take 5 minutes to shave his face. But he wants to give an impression
that he's in the foxhole.
That he's something doing that he's probably
well,
not. So
listen,
it's all, he's, like you said, he's an actor.
I'm not going to give Zelensky too hard of a time. His country was invaded. People are being
obviously
killed. And his country's on the verge of collapse. But the Congress, both parties, they gave him a standing ovation yesterday. And then
$800 million.
Yeah. Now, here's the thing about that. And this is an important point to me about this. There's how many hundreds of
800 million.
Okay.
Not to mention the millions they've already. It's about $1 billion total.
Okay, this is such a fake thing by Biden and the entire Congress of both parties, because the Republican Party in Congress, they're mostly useless. I wish they were all a bunch of Marjorie Taylor Greenes and Lauren Boeberts, but they're not.
How fun would that be?
They passed this $800 billion relief package is what they're trying to pass to give Ukraine aid. It's a total lie. It's a big money grab for the Democrats, for themselves, for their donors, everything else. We know this. If they wanted to really, truly give help to Ukraine militarily, like they're saying, all this equipment that they're going to pay for with that money, we already have the equipment in our military. We could give it to them today. Biden, as commander-in-chief, could, through executive order, executive power, order the Pentagon to give all that equipment, bullets,
but
rockets,
wouldn't that
everything.
Deplete our army? Why would they want to do that?
We have so much in storage and backed up over, we just got out of this war. We could replenish ourselves. We've got warehouses. We have all this stuff. He could, including those MiG jets from Poland, okay?
Well, there's a reason he's not doing that.
Yeah, because they want the money from the spending bill.
They want the cash.
And the spending bill is, the spending bill takes time, right? It's not even passed yet. It's got to go through that whole process. Then Biden's got to sign it. Mm-hmm. Then it's whatever processing it goes through. Then the equipment has to be ordered and paid for and delivered to the United States and then transferred to Ukraine. By that time, there'll be no Ukraine. It'll be all Russia. Mm-hmm. So, if these standing ovation Congress people yesterday wanted to give military aid to Ukraine, they would do what I said, but they just want the money from the spending bill, and that's it. I'm sorry, and I also want to say I found a new news source to me yesterday. I mean, I don't know if Fox News will ever be on our televisions again. Let me make sure I get the name right, and I want to tell you how to search for it.
Real America, I think.
Well, yeah, I want to tell you how to search for it in the app stores. Real America's Voice. They have Steve Bannon on there, and a lot of other shows. Real America's Voice is on the Dish Network, not DirecTV, but the Dish Network. Mm-hmm. Some cable outlets. We don't have any of the cable outlets or the Dish Network. So the app is available on Apple TV and Roku. It's also available in the Apple App Store, in the Google Play Store. I have their app on my phone and on my iPad. We have it on our TV in the living room and in the bedroom, Apple TV and Roku. And let me tell you, it is darn good. It is 24 hours news. They have Steve Bannon on twice a day and a bunch of other people.
They had Pete Navarro on.
Peter Navarro,
this morning. He's good.
Yeah, he's on there. And
it said Dr. Peter Navarro.
I guess he's a doctor of something.
Yeah, I'd like to know what. I did not know. Because I don't know. He doesn't throw around his title like Joe Biden does.
Yeah.
I had no clue he was a doctor.
Yeah, I get. Well, he does.
Maybe a PhD.
I don't know. He's a PhD of something.
He's not one of these. He's not like Dr. Jill who makes people say doctor when they introduce her at dinner parties and when she gets on the airplane.
But when you're searching, Real America's Voice is the app for the Apple TV, Roku, and on your iPhone and on your Google phones. In the Apple App Store and on Apple TV, you have to search for America's Voice, not Real America's Voice. And I was searching for Real America's Voice and couldn't find it. It took me a few minutes to figure it out. Just search America's Voice, and I think you will enjoy it a lot. It's very good, and there's a lot of other familiar faces. Most everyone on there that I've seen so far has a connection to President Trump, and many of them worked for President Trump in one way, shape, form, or another. So it's MAGA news, and a lot of it I found out is based right here in South Florida in Palm Beach, in the neighborhood of Mar-a-Lago, and a lot of the staff, the on-air personnel, Steve Bannon said, have been buying houses in Palm Beach because Real America's Voice is located in Palm Beach, so that they're in our neck of the woods here too. But it is definitely a news source that you want to check out. But I just, finishing up on Zelensky, and then after the break, we'll get into Lindsey Graham because it's very important to talk about this. I don't want anyone to think I am not sympathetic for Ukraine and the Ukrainian people. But I'm saying this on every show. I do not want the United States in World War III. And what I did not like, there's two things that Zelensky did yesterday when he addressed Congress I did not like. One, I didn't like that whatever country he's talking to, he brings up a hero or icon from that nation and plagiarizes their speech. He picked Winston Churchill for the Brits, and with us, Martin Luther King.
Yeah, that's a little manipulative.
Yeah, it's very manipulative, and it's fake. It's fake because and I didn't care for that. But the thing that Zelensky did yesterday that he's trying to guilt the United States and our allies to establish a no-fly zone over Ukraine, and that means so that the Russians can't fly over it. And if we did that, you got to enforce that. And if the Russians don't abide by it, you've got to shoot down the Russian planes. That's the Third World War, and I do not support that. No, I was talking to Richie the bus driver today. And I was talking to him about Israel. Israel is America's ally, and people still say, and this is true, that Israel is our closest ally in the Middle East. Israel has been in many military conflicts. They took on the whole Arab world years ago, but they've had these. We are never there with them. We have had multiple conflicts over the years, some of them in the Middle East, like Iraq. Israel is our ally, but they never fight with us, and we never fight with them. And the reason is because if Israel sent in troops to help us in Iraq or Afghanistan, that would be so triggering to the Muslim world. You know what I mean? It would just blow things up. And the same thing goes with Israel and the enemies they fight. They fight them on their own without us, but what we do is we arm them up. Israel's military, they have a nuclear arsenal, and their military is modern as ours. It's our equipment. We arm them. We give them everything. Israel is not a rich country. People be surprised. It's not a wealthy country. People think it is because they have these anti-Semitic views of Jews. It is not a rich country, and we have them armed to the T. So what I was telling Richie the bus driver is that's what we've got to do with Ukraine. We arm them up like we do Israel, and they got to take care of themselves. And they seem pretty tough. And they'll accept Maxim from Dancing with the Stars, who got out like a coward.
Well, his wife now came out and said that he's in America for now. So maybe he's going to be shamed into going back home.
Yeah.
I wonder if his brother Val, he's on Dancing with the Stars too.
He should be. But so anyway, that's what's got to happen with Ukraine. But Biden, Steve Bannon was talking about this yesterday on his program. He said things are very dangerous right now because we don't have a leader. They're throwing all these things at Putin, and we don't have any leadership doing anything. All they're doing is enraging Putin, and there's no resolve. And the resolve would be send the jets and all the weapons that Ukraine wants and needs, and let them fight. But they won't do that. Now, listen, we're going to take a quick break. When we get back, we'll get into Lindsey Graham because something new has come out about Lindsey Graham that is very revealing. Very revealing. My name's Brian Craig, always joined by my wife and co-host Kathy. We'll be back right after this. Good morning. You're on the radio. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Good morning. This is Chaplain Jethro from Flint, Michigan.
Hey, Chaplain Jethro in Michigan. What's up, Chaplain?
Well, first of all, I want to thank Mike Lindell for the great product called My Slippers. That cured my neuropathy in a big way. In 10 minutes after I put them on, it went away. This morning, I woke up with leg cramps, put them on, leg cramps gone.
That's amazing.
I tell you, it's a great product.
Which one do you have? I have the tan fur-lined moccasin My Slippers. Which ones do you have, Chaplain?
I have the blue ones, and they're fur-lined also.
I've heard from several listeners that the Mike Lindell My Slippers make their neuropathy go away, and there's very little treatment for neuropathy, and people that suffer from it, it's torture, so I appreciate that. All right, Jethro, I appreciate the call, and thanks for the kind words about Mike Lindell's My Slippers and how they help with your neuropathy.
Yes, indeed, they do.
And right now, when you use the promo code KANE at checkout, KANE, save 50% off the MyPillow My Slippers. Go to MyPillow.com, click on the radio listener specials, and use our promo code KANE, KANE, for 50% off the MyPillow My Slippers. That's 50% off, but you've got to use the promo code KANE, KANE. Have you wanted to learn how to make a living in real estate? Real estate can be intimidating, but with the right guidance, you can begin a successful real estate career. Shannon Robnett is a second-generation builder and developer, fourth-generation realtor with over 35 years experience in real estate. And on his podcast, Robnett's Real Estate Rundown, he shares his experience and knowledge with listeners. Listen to this clip from a recent episode.
And I've always been able to get people to help me bring that dream to life so that at the end of the day, what we're seeing happen is we're seeing a raw piece of land turn into a commercial investment that is of benefit to the whole community. And then out of that, we're able to create a significant upside for the investors in that development project. So after 12 or 14 months, those investors will receive, I don't want to brag, but over 35% return.
Shannon Robnett shares advice that's actionable on wholesaling, fix and flips, single family, multifamily, and more. Robnett's Real Estate Rundown is available on Apple Podcast, Stitcher, YouTube, Podchaser, and Spotify. Add Robnett's Real Estate Rundown to your playlist right now. Fallon Knight thought she was just an average girl with an average life. Little did she know there was much more. From author Erica Andrews comes an epic fantasy adventure that you will want to add to your must-read list. Chosen, Fallon and the Pack. Available on Amazon. Trained in another dimension. Equipped with a magic ring that holds ancient powers. College student Fallon Knight must discover who she is and enlist the help of close friends to help her stop the forces of darkness at work behind the scenes, and must step into the role she was destined for before it's too late and darkness wins forever. Chosen, Fallon and the Pack from author Erica Andrews. Order your copy right now on Amazon. Available in Kindle and paperback.
You are listening to The Brian Craig Show podcast, broadcasting from sunny South Florida. Brian is joined by his wife and co-host, Kathy. Follow Brian on social media at BrianCraigShow.com. And now, Brian and Kathy.
Welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian Craig, always joined by my wife and co-host Kathy. Thanks for tuning in, everyone. Now, Kathy put a poll up on my YouTube channel. If you subscribe to my YouTube channel, we do put polls up there. Mostly the polls are from Kathy, and you can participate in them on top of, getting all my great content that I put on my YouTube channel. I spend a lot of time on that channel. But right before we started the podcast, just a few minutes ago, Kathy put a poll up on my YouTube channel. Do you trust Lindsey Graham? Of course or hell no? And this was just put up a few minutes ago. There's 109 votes. 4% say, of course, they trust Lindsey Graham. 96% say, hell no. And I think the ones that say they trust Lindsey Graham mean they trust him to be untrustworthy. You understand what I mean? I don't think they mean that.
I think I was clear in my question. No.
Yeah, you think?
No. Yeah. Do you trust Lindsey Graham?
No,
yes
don't.
or no?
I would stick with, if I were voting,
I think the
I'd say
people
hell
that
no.
voted, of course, are liberals.
Yeah, maybe.
I mean,
maybe.
You do have liberals that go to your channel.
Maybe.
This is the thing with Lindsey Graham. To me, he's the worst kind of person. Like Stephanie Grisham.
Yeah.
They're pure scum. These are people that pretend to be your friend, but they're really stabbing you in the back over and over again when you're not looking.
Yeah.
And talking trash about you behind. They're two-faced.
Yeah.
He's two-faced.
Yeah.
He's Harvey Dent. And he pretends to be Trump's friend. He never liked Trump. He didn't like Trump for two reasons. Because Trump humiliated John McCain, who was Lindsey Graham's buddy, and because he humiliated him with his phone.
Yeah, I forgot what happened with that. Did he give out? Did he tweet?
I don't know. Something stupid, but then Lindsey Graham made a whole video about it.
During the campaign,
smashed his phone or
President
something.
Trump, when he was running for president the first time, did something. He tweeted out Lindsey Graham's cell phone number.
Something like that.
Or something.
It was just stupid.
Well,
silly joke, and he got all upset. This guy was never his friend, and he was told by the deep state to get close, to befriend him, get him to trust him, and then screw him over. And that's what they all did. There are so many people in there working against Trump, and you told me another story today, which you should talk about, and there's so many people in the White House, like Stephanie Grisham and all these people that were placed there by the deep state to undermine him, to spy on him, to feed fake stories to the press, to write books about him. And, it's really, I don't understand why.
Let me
None of the stuff they're saying is true.
Let me share this story here. And this one is what the title of this episode is about.
Yeah, this is pretty shocking.
This is in the Gateway Pundit where I'm reading, but this is in other sources too. I just like the Gateway Pundit. A new book says Senator Lindsey Graham threatened to use the 25th Amendment to remove President Trump from office in phone calls to the White House on January 6th. And this is another report. Senator Lindsey Graham called the White House on January 6th and said lawmakers would ask – see, this is when they were down in the basement during the breach. I guess they were colluding. Yeah. They were talking. Yeah. Senator Lindsey Graham called the White House on January 6th and said lawmakers would ask cabinet members to invoke the 25th Amendment to remove President Trump from office if he did not condemn the Capitol rioters, according to a new book by New York Times reporters. Yeah. And this is the deal with that. I don't trust the New York Times, and books come out and say all kinds of things all the time. But this sounds credible to me, knowing what Lindsey Graham is like. And
I'd like somebody, like you said, I'd like somebody to ask him.
Yeah,
point blank.
Well, that's what I was going to say next. Yeah. I would like a reporter. Hannity likes to have him on all the time. He's on these cable shows. Ask Lindsey Graham point blank. Did you call the White House and tell them that you were going that they should invoke the 25th Amendment? Did you discuss the 25th Amendment? Any of that? Ask him the question in every way, shape, or form. Do not give him and let him go on the record, yes or no. If it's not true, I want to know. If it's true, I want to know. And I think there's truth to it because Lindsey Graham goes with the wind.
Yeah. Oh, well, he goes with the alpha male. That's what they say. But I don't think he ever liked Trump.
Never.
I don't think he was ever on his side. I think he's another one of these guys who befriended him and pretended to be his friend, gave him advice, had his ear, was guiding him and directing him, and all along he was manipulating him and working against him. No doubt. There were a lot of people. I think, like I've said before, I think Trump, when he gets back in again in 2024, I'm hoping he has learned the hard way that he cannot trust anybody in Washington. They're all part of the deep state.
That's right.
And they're all out to get him, and he needs to bring in people like Peter Navarro, people that he can trust, family, and people that are not part. When he brought in Bill Barr, I know you said why he did it, but he used to work for George Bush. And I remember I said to you, why the hell did he bring this guy in? He's part of the deep state. This guy's not his friend. And now he's out there writing books and trashing him on every show he can get on. I mean, that's what these people do. I wonder how Trump feels about it. I wonder if it bothers him, if he feels, these people were his supposed friends to his face. He invited them to his home. I mean, Lindsey Graham's been to Mar-a-Lago, to his home, and had dinner with his family. And then he goes on TV and then he finds something out like this. Yeah. I mean, does it piss him off? Does he not care? I'd love to know what Trump thinks about this.
There's a story also in the Gateway Pundit today. A British operative. Listen to this. Is in today's Gateway Pundit, and the website is thegatewaypundit.com.
Oh, you gotta check it out. They've good stuff.
A British operative was inserted into President Trump's White House in an effort to tarnish President Trump's image. The Gateway Pundit previously reported that an individual named Don Berlin inserted a document into President Trump's inner circle days before January 6th in an effort to set President Trump up for a perceived insurrection. A summary of this document was then scooped up by the January 6th committee and has been shared with multiple media outlets in an attempt to claim that President Trump attempted an insurrection. Now, this is the Gateway Pundit, is reporting that Berlin was not alone. Another individual, Andrew Whitney, with connections to British intelligence. Remember, British intelligence, that's where the fake dossier came from, remember?
Yeah, and the weapons of mass destruction. They've been trying to screw us over since 1776.
Exactly. The Gateway Pundit says Berlin was not alone. Another individual, Andrew Whitney, with connections to British intelligence, also wormed his way into President Trump's inner circle in an effort to tarnish President Trump's reputation. And
many people were there doing that.
This is interesting stuff because
the question is,
happened
Brian,
before January 6th.
Exactly. It happened before. which tells you a lot. And also, who's the person putting them in here? That's what I'd like to know. That's what I'd like to know. Who's bringing these people in? Because, they don't just walk in the front door. They are brought in by somebody. It's kind of like a Donnie Brasco situation, when Al Pacino brought Donnie Brasco in and he said, "You better be the real deal or I'm a dead man." Remember that?
Yeah.
And he was a Fed. And Al Pacino got killed. But anyway, that's a great movie. But it's kind of like that. Somebody has to bring them in to the fold here. They don't just walk in the door. There's a connection. There's somebody making this happen. So it's interesting, like you said, that it happened before January 6th. That tells you a lot. That things were that was a setup, like we always said. And to me, it was their Hail Mary. And also, who brought them into this?
Yeah.
Into the White House.
Now, I learned something else today, too, that I did not. I'm learning. There's so much going on. It's hard to know everything that's going on. And this I did not know. Mike Lindell's Frank Speech has an app, and I downloaded the app on my iPhone today, by the way.
You're just learning all kinds of stuff this week.
Well, there's so much going on.
I know.
And this is from Business Insider. MyPillow CEO Mike Lindell says that he is spending at least $1 million a month building his social media empire with two apps that he hopes will rival Facebook and YouTube. He has quietly launched his Frank Speech app. And I downloaded the app. It's a free app, and it's very high quality.
He's smart to do it quietly.
He didn't make a big deal about it.
And I think that's the smart way to do it, because when you make a big thing about it and the press gets a hold of it, then you have all the hackers and the bots coming in and they start attacking you right off launch. So if you do it kind of stealth like he's doing, I think that's really smart.
So now I don't know if it's in the Google Play Store. It actually does. It says it's in the Google Play Store because it's in the Apple App Store too. The Frank Speech app. Just type in Frank Speech. Mike Lindell told Business Insider he plans to launch Frank Social by the end of March, which he says is a competitor to Facebook. So we're going to have another social. And at this rate, I'll still be on the Truth Social wait list, which I still am on the. You're
that
on
is
Truth
incredible
Social.
to me. And Trump now has. I have a bone to pick. Trump has over 500,000 followers. But he has not posted anything in 3 weeks.
He did one post on Truth Social.
One post at the very beginning. He needs to start posting on that platform, and they need to get you on there. I'm really upset about it because I was brought in a week ago. We signed up the same day. I don't understand that he has over 500,000 followers. You were number 220,000. I don't know I guess it's not in order, but I don't know what the hell the deal is. I mean, this is just ridiculous.
Well, let me finish this and we'll talk about that. I misspoke. Mike Lindell says he's spending $1 million a week to make sure that the launch of Frank Social, the Facebook competitor, happens and happens smoothly. Did I say a week before? I thought I said a month before. He's spending $1 million a week.
Yeah.
$1 million a week.
That's why it's so important to use MyPillow.
That's right.
Promo Kane.
Yeah,
so important.
At mypillow.com, you can save up to 66% off with our promo code Kane at checkout, Kane. And remember, when you do that, of course, when you use our promo code, you're supporting Mike Lindell and all of his efforts. Mike Lindell's putting everything he's got into this business.
And we want to thank everybody who has done that, because a lot of you have bought a lot of products. Wisconsin Gary, I think he's bought everything. Rome, Wisconsin, and people in our micro group show us and tell us. And we really appreciate it because it is a great way to support us, Mike Lindell, Trump, and everything, because all that money, he's using a lot of that to build these platforms and to get the word out. And him and Trump, they're just fighting everybody. I mean, they got the world against them.
That's right.
Except us. They have us.
And again, when you use the promo code Kane at checkout, Kane, you are supporting this program and all the content that I put together, including the Steve Kane Show, my YouTube channel, the podcast, everything we do. And it does help a lot. Promo code Kane, Kane.
Are you ready for a good laugh? The book, Rhyming Around, from author D.C. Dempsey, available on Amazon and Lulu, is a collection of 30 rhyming stories that are not for children. Rhyming Around features over 160 pages of sheer rhyming delight, which range in word count from a couple of hundred to over 1,000. Inside, you will find funny, if that's your thing, and some thoughtful rhymes. Either way, it's an assortment of wacky, sometimes weird, but mostly wonderful stories. No offense is meant. P.S. No people, animals, animals, birds, genies, or pitchforks were harmed during the creation of Rhyming Around. If you want a good laugh, this is the book you've been looking for. The rhymes are clever and nostalgic. Order your copy right now. Rhyming Around from author D.C. Dempsey. Available in Kindle and paperback on Amazon and Lulu. From author Vivek Shukla comes your next must-read book, An Unforgettable Journey to Hometown, a travel memoir about discovering willpower, available on Amazon. The book revolves around a journey that Vivek and his 3 friends planned to their hometown from their college. They embarked on this journey with lots of thrill. However, as the events unfolded, it turned out to be a one-of-a-kind, never-ending journey that tested the grit of Vivek and his friends to overcome. This journey proved to be a litmus test of how a shy person became confident. All it needed was a determination to reach somewhere and the company of friends. Based on real events, this book is the debut book from author Vivek Shukla. The author wanted to share his journey with young, shy adults so they can draw parallels to discover the moment of their life that would have helped them emerge bold and independent. An Unforgettable Journey to Hometown, a travel memoir about discovering willpower. From author Vivek Shukla. Order your copy right now on Amazon. Available in Kindle, paperback, and hardcover editions. You know how important it is to have a good credit score. Has bad credit stopped you from living the life you want to live? There is help. If you want to repair your credit once and for all, there are 2 websites you need to write down right now. The first, smartcredit.com/PID =56179. Smartcredit.com/PID =56179. There you will find a link to pull up 3 bureau reports for just $4.99. This is a 7-day trial rate. It also gives you the opportunity to check for identity theft, offers a score tracker, a score builder, and score boost. Plus, it comes with a $1 million insurance policy. The second link you need to know is pecuniarycoach.com. That's PECUNIARY coach.com. The pecuniarycoach.com brings your finances to life and will help improve your financial fingerprint. You'll find credit services, consultations, strategies, and money tips. It's time to control your future and your credit score to start living the life that you and your family deserve. Visit smartcredit.com/PID =56179 and pecuniarycoach.com. That's PECUNIARY coach.com.
You are listening to The Brian Craig Show podcast, broadcasting from sunny South Florida. Brian is joined by his wife and co-host, Kathy. Follow Brian on social media at BrianCraigShow.com. And now, Brian and Kathy.
Welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian, always joined by my wife and co-host, Kathy. Yeah, on True Social, I'm number 233,859, and that was my number when I first signed up. And I have gotten a text message verification from True Social, and my account is there.
Yeah,
and
your account is there.
Should I tell people what my handle is there?
Yeah.
Okay, it's because people are following me there. It's Real Brian Craig on True Social. I cannot access it, but I can see it through Kathy. And if you're on True Social, Real Brian Craig is me there. By the way, I'm Real Brian Craig on Getter. And I started, while I'm very frustrated at my wait list, I started using my Getter yesterday, which I had not used in months. And you can find me there too, Real Brian Craig on Getter as well. And I'm getting a lot of interaction on Getter, which is which is nice and everything. But when I'm at the Trump event, I'm going to see President Trump, Don Jr., Kim Guilfoyle. Believe me, I will not bring up that I'm on the wait list still. I will not bring up anything negative to President Trump, the Trump family, or the Trump organization.
It'll be fun to see Don Jr. He's always a lot of fun, though. I'd love to see him speak.
Oh, yeah.
You could meet him for $3,000 if you want,
Or you can just go with me.
Huh? No, I'm saying you can meet him for $3,000.
Yeah,
Anybody can. You can spend $3,000 and meet Don Jr.
Well, anybody?
If they pay the $3,000, they can meet him and get a picture.
It's a fundraiser.
It's a fundraiser
and things like that.
Which would be cool. But I told you for $3,000 you should meet the main man, the boss. I'm sorry. I mean, I like Don Jr., but I think for $3,000 that's a lot of money. I think you should be able to meet President Trump, but he's not doing a meet and greet, obviously, probably for security purposes. But it would be cool to meet Don Jr., but 3,000 is just...
Yeah,
that's pretty steep.
You've heard these stories out of Ukraine of the sad stories of the journalists that have been killed. The cameraman from Fox 11 wounded. An American citizen has been killed. No details on it as of yet. By the time you're listening later, there may be more details. I've been telling you guys the last couple weeks since this happened. I've been watching YouTubers out of Ukraine, and because of that, my YouTube recommendations are giving me all these YouTube. There are a lot of single retired American men in Ukraine, and they're obviously over there because of the women. It's like sex tourism kind of thing going on. And I don't know how many of them stayed behind or have gotten out. And I've seen some of these
Ukrainian women are pretty.
I've seen some of these guys interviewed, and they give every reason under the sun why they have, they lived their whole life in Virginia, but they decided to retire to Kiev or Kyiv, whatever they call it, Ukraine. And they're doing interviews, right, on Ukrainian television. This is before the war, and they got every excuse under the sun except the hot ladies, and we know that that's why they're there. These guys, they're single. It's kind of creepy.
Well,
it isn't it kind of creepy
too much about that.
It's kind of creepy. But what I'm wondering is, this American that was killed, is he one of these guys that got because some of these
there's a lot of Ukrainians here too. I didn't realize there's a lot of Ukrainians that live in the States.
Michael Cohen's wife is from Ukraine. The disgraced lawyer of President Trump.
I forgot about him.
There was also Russia today. Russia said it may need to put the United States in its place for stoking disgusting Russophobia.
They make a lot of threats.
And trying to bring Putin to his knees after Biden called him a war criminal. Well,
he makes a lot of threats. I mean, it's kind of becoming the boy who cried wolf. It's like every week.
I want to take a moment to thank all of our Patreon supporters. And thank you so much, all of our Patreon supporters. And our top Patreon supporters get a live on-air thank you on each and every episode. So the names you will hear now are our top Patreon supporters. I want to thank Andrew and Connie, Christine, Gary, ETW, Chuck, D, Pamela, Jacquelyn, Rick, Rich, and Nick. These are our top Patreon supporters, and thank you so much, everyone. And if you would like to support the program by becoming a Patreon supporter, there is a link in the description of this and every episode of our program, and a direct link on my website, briancraigshow.com. The Supreme Court nominee, that's all starting up now, and that's going to sail through. She was going to sail through anyway, black, female, Democrat, But now with this war going on, she's going to completely sail through, and she's got a lot of problems. This fact that she's related to Paul Ryan, I think, is something that is fascinating. But there's two other things, though, that are more relevant. When she was with the Harvard Law Review, it was a very radical time for that. They had some anti-Semitic speakers that were part of this group as invited speakers, which she was a part of, and I think questions about that need to be found out. And this Harvard Law Review article that she wrote, that she said that the American justice system is biased against sex offenders, which includes rapist, child rapist, and everything else.
That's weird.
And of course she'll deny that and do all of these things, but that article in itself should totally discount her from being on the Supreme Court.
Yeah, that's like radical thinking.
I don't know why liberals are so soft on criminals.
Because they are criminals.
I guess.
They sympathize.
They do, don't they?
It seems to be, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I don't understand it. I mean, I don't really get it at all, but you can't argue with the fact they're soft on crime.
It always backfires. I mean, look at all these cities they wanted to defund the police. That's backfiring. And this DA in New York, and that's backfiring. There's so much crime, and you just can't be that way. There are people that are just not reformable, and they feel that if they're nice to them, that they'll all of a sudden become an unhonorable citizen. If you give them needles or give them drugs, they'll turn that's such twisted logic. They're drug pushers. And we saw a thing where they showed LA with all the homeless on a show, and that's what they have out in California now. There's homeless tents everywhere, all over Los Angeles, Venice Beach, all over California, thousands and thousands of homeless people. They encourage this behavior. They encourage drug use. They encourage crime. You know, I mean, I don't know. Look at Jussie Smollett. He's a typical liberal. He still thinks that he was a victim of something. I mean, this guy refuses to accept responsibility of any kind. And now he's been let out of jail. And he just, you know, there's people that actually are defending him that are like, that are saying, well, we don't know exactly what happened. Yeah, we do know what happened. He he staged this entire thing. It was scripted. It was rehearsed, and he staged this whole thing and made it up. But there's people actually defending him, saying that he was victimized and it really did happen. I mean, this is who you're dealing with.
It's insane.
People that are not rational.
And, you know, one thing that's been going on this week with Jussie Smollett, which is a disgrace, is this comparison to Emmett Till. And Emmett Till was lynched, and it's hard to get a straight story on exactly what happened because the accounts of Emmett Till's story are different depending on the source, you know, because the media was so biased at the time. It was, you know, but Emmett Till was lynched, and the most famous thing that you hear is he was lynched for whistling at a white woman. I don't necessarily believe that. I believe he was lynched, but
I'm sure he did nothing wrong.
The idea that a young black man in the South was flirting with a white woman, especially in public back then in that situation, is not believable. I think they just lynched him because they were a bunch of racist old Democrats.
Yeah, they just said that. They were mad at him for something.
And they come out with this story, well, we were defending the honor of the woman as kind of like an excuse for what they did. I don't believe that whistling at a white woman thing.
Or she told people he did.
Well, yeah.
She could have told people he did for some reason. That happened a lot, too.
I want to apologize to the women in this audience because I know you're not like this. But if you look at some of the things that have happened in history, women have done some terrible things, right? Accusing women of being witches. And then women were tortured and executed and killed.
Yep.
And a lot of black men were lynched because of accusations made by white women.
Yeah, look at To Kill a Mockingbird. That's what that whole book was about.
And those kind of things really happened. But for Jussie Smollett to compare himself and for others, like the woman that played his mother on Empire, that actress, to compare him to Emmett Till,
he wanted to be like Emmett Till.
Yeah, it's disgusting and it dishonors Emmett Till.
It does, but they don't see it that way. But it does. It dishonors his memory and it lessens what happened to him because Jussie Smollett is a fraud, pure and simple. He's a phony and he's a fraud, and he wants to be some civil rights activist and some big icon of civil rights. He's an icon of pathological liars.
When this is all done, like when he does his time and he's back, it'll be interesting to see if he gets work. Will he become like a professional civil rights voice?
Oh, I'm
like
sure
Kaepernick?
He'll get work. He'll get work on some woke liberal BS show. And these days, are you kidding me? There's probably people lining up to hire this guy. They love this crap.
I was telling you on a previous episode, he's very talented. I watched the first season of him. First season of Empire is very good. Jussie Smollett is a very talented actor, and he can sing. You know, and it was a very good.
He's lost touch with reality,
but he's had a break from reality. Yeah. And what he did is actually a hate crime because what he's done is he's ginned up a lot of racial hatred towards Trump supporters, which was everybody knew that story was ridiculous. He said 2 guys on the south side of Chicago at 2 a.m. said this is MAGA country. I mean, that's insane. There's no MAGA on the south side of Chicago
at 2 a.m. At any time in the
if you had MAGA gear on at 2 p.m. on the south side of Chicago, you'd be a dead man. I mean, it just wouldn't be
ridiculous.
Safe.
No.
You know, and Jussie Smollett is a disgrace, and I'll tell you who's also a disgrace is anyone who comes out with this comparing him to Emmett Till. And I noticed one thing about Jussie Smollett. He's in love with himself. No matter where he goes, he has this entourage of people surrounding him. You know, like Michael Jackson used to do, or Prince. Or something else. I think Jussie Smollett is loving all of this, all the attention.
Oh, of course he is. He's absolutely loving it. That's what actors like. They love attention.
He spent 6 days in jail and he wouldn't eat. He survived off of ice water.
Whatever.
And I was watching when he came out. Did he look like he lost weight?
If you don't eat for 6 days, you'd probably drop about 15, 20 pounds.
Yeah.
You know. Yeah. So I don't. Everything about him is a lie and is fake and is a fraud.
It's really unfortunate because what Kaepernick did, what Jussie Smollett's doing now, trivializes everyone who sacrificed
It's true.
in the civil rights movement. People like John Lewis.
People
and
that
Martin
really
Luther King.
were oppressed, people that really were victimized or killed or, who were treated. So people during the 60s who were spit on and yelled at and screamed at, it diminishes everything that they did and they fought for. When you have guys like this that are so desperate to be a part of something that they'll never be a part of, and they can't even fake being a part of it. They'll never be a part of something great because he's not great.
No, he's not. Now, listen, we are all out of time, but we'll be back next time. I'm Brian Craig, always joined by my wife and co-host Kathy. Thanks, everyone, for listening, and we will talk to you next time.
From retired U.S. Navy veteran with 29 years of service and author Dr. Owen Watson comes the book Relentless Grace, Behind the Scenes of Men, available on Amazon. Relentless Grace, Behind the Scenes of Men presents true life accounts as poignantly told by men from various walks of life. Each riveting story delves behind the emotional, physical, and spiritual scenes of 10 ordinary men and deliver firsthand details of how each man handled certain confrontational, gut-wrenching takedown situations. Sometimes there were failed results, and other times there were successful results. Regardless of the outcome, the one constant factor was the relentless grace of God showing up time after time, proving his faithfulness in times of their faithlessness. These stories are built on how men handle real-life situations, with some examples being depression, fatherless, issues with children, and more. This book is perfect for book clubs and church groups. Relentless Grace, Behind the Scenes of Men, from author Dr. Owen Watson, available on Amazon in Kindle, paperback, and hardcover editions. Order your copy right now.